What is up, BYBS tribe? It is your coach Chelsea here, and today I got the opportunity to present in front of a bunch of youth, foster homeless runaway youth, about um, understanding nutrition labels. All right, so my day job per se is that I am an independent living coach for runaway homeless and foster youth. Then I am also a certified health coach in order to be able to help you guys. So I get to cross those business lines quite often. And so today I had the opportunity to present in front of them. And I just thought that presenting this to you guys as well would be equally, if not more beneficial, since we are a tribe of healthy, like-minded people. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully you guys can learn a few things about food labels and everything today. All right, so first, there we go. So I'm going to move this. I don't know if you guys can see my little bubble of me, but I'm going to move it up. Okay, so understanding food labels. Like I said, I am a certified health coach. That all started with my personal journey, and I lost 100 pounds. I started out simple by running around my neighborhood in portion control, and now I do at-home workouts, drink Shakeology, and help other people hold themselves accountable, which also holds me accountable. So the biggest thing that I honestly learned throughout my journey is that education about food is the key to good health. Because honestly, there's a lot of things out there that is given to us or shown to us that is supposedly good, but it's not good necessarily. Like I remember growing up and we had the food pyramid, and at the bottom it said you were supposed to have like 6 to 8 servings of bread. Now, as adults, we all understand that that is not true. You should not have that much bread, and that was not healthy for us. That was actually put in place because bread stayed on the shelves for a while longer, and that's also how preservatives started entering our grocery stores, is they wanted to keep things on the shelves and make things fly off the shelves. So by having bread doing 6 to 8 servings, people would buy more bread. All right, same thing goes for milk. Milk isn't good for your body. It comes from a cow that's supposed to feed and transform a 400-pound calf within a year. So putting that into your body and trying to lose weight is not going to happen. So understanding food and educating yourself about that kind of stuff is key to a successful journey. And so I hope you guys can learn something throughout this. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, let me move this again. So here you see I have two different labels. So I have a Nature Valley 100% natural crunchy granola bars, oats and honey. And then I have a Fiber One oats and chocolate naturally flavored bar. So each of these are granola bars, but if you guys take a look, obviously the first thing that people want to look at is the nutrition facts. When in reality, I'm going to go ahead and try to shift your mindset and go ahead and move into looking at the ingredient list first. All right, so if we're looking at the Nature Valley, we see whole grain oats, sugar, canola oil, yellow corn flour, honey, soy flour, brown sugar syrup, salt, soy lectin, baking soda, natural flavor. At least 3 of those things are sugars. However, we're just comparing here. On the other one, on the Fiber One, we have ingredients as Chicroy root extract, semi-sweet chocolate chips, whole grain oats, high maltose corn syrup, that's a sugar, rice flour, barley flake, sugar, canola oil, glycerin, maltodextrin, honey, and a bunch more words that I can't even freaking say. I can honestly, right now, I see 4 different kinds of sugar in that one, and we'll get to that in a moment. But if you're looking at the ingredients, first and foremost, you're going to want to go for the Nature Valley. Now, if we are looking at the nutrition facts, you will honestly see that nutritionally, the Fiber One bar looks better. It has less calories. It has a lower total fat. It has lower sodium. It has the same total carbohydrate, and then the proteins are about the same as well. However, we are making the mindset shift that we are going to look at ingredients because that is what matters. We are going to start counting chemicals instead of counting calories because it honestly matters more what you put into your body rather than how many calories you're consuming. All right, so in this example, the Nature Valley is going to be your winner here. All right, it's got less sugars. It's got whole grain oats as the first ingredient. And it's honestly, it's going to be your better choice here. My personal favorite as far as granola bars go is Laura bars. They are made out of dates or natural fruits from the earth. You can say every single word, and I don't believe that there's any sugar in there at all. So besides the semi-sweet dark chocolate chips in like the chocolate chip or the brownie one. So definitely try to go for a Laura bar. They're typically 10 at your Kroger or King Soopers, and they're going to be a good bet for you. All right. So simple steps to reading a food label. I just gave you guys an example of that. All right. So first, read the ingredients. This is the most important. The ingredients are listed in the order of their quantity. So the thing that you see first is going to be the thing that the food is made of the most. And then next, look for complicated chemical names. I sat there and tore those things apart. The preservatives that you're naturally going to see are going to be BHT, BHA, TBHQ. And what a preservative is that's just something that they put in food to where it can preserve, it can have a longer shelf life, and they can sell more of it. Then you want to look out for chemical dyes. This is gonna be anything with a color and most likely a number. And this is just there's colors and dyes in your food. And then last, artificial sweeteners. So I can never say that freaking word. Sucralose, sorbitol, Splenda. All those things are artificial sweeteners that you want to try to stay away from. If you're going to have a sweetener inside of your food or whatever you're having, try to go for a cane sugar or a natural sugar, not an artificial sweetener. All right. So next, you're going to focus on the serving size. So clearly, we all know that you have to do math if you're going to go by nutrition labels. So whether that's counting your macros, whether that's counting calories, chemicals, whatever, math is involved. And so when you're focusing on your serving size, you just got to understand that typically, the FDA is changing this and we'll get to it in a moment, but typically the serving size, if you're having Pringles, you're not just going to sit there and eat 6 Pringles or pizza rolls. You're not just going to eat 5 pizza rolls. You're going to eat more than that. And so they're trying to make it to where the serving sizes are more accurate, but you do need to pay attention to that. So if you have 100 calories a serving and you have 4 servings a box and you eat the whole box of, let's say, Girl Scout cookies, you just consumed 400 calories, even though the nutrition label said 100 calories, and that's the only thing that you paid attention to. And then last, just make sure that you consider the percent of daily value of nutrients. Most of your micronutrients should be coming from foods without a nutrition facts box. So that means that they are unprocessed. They should be your fruits, veggies, healthy fats that don't have a label. But if they do, like vitamin D, C, all those kinds of things, just make sure that you pay attention to that if you're trying to up that. For me personally, one of the things that I look for is I don't eat red meat, so I have a lower iron count. So I look for iron if it happens to be on the label. Now let's go ahead and check out the nutrition label changes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to exit out of here, and we are going to look at the changes that the FDA is currently making to food labels. I think everything has to be in place by the end of this year, but there are a few things that I just want you to understand about the changes. So yes, these 2 labels look exactly the same. However, like we said earlier, the serving sizes are going to be more towards what people actually consume. And then the calories are listed larger. They got rid of the calories from fat because they obviously realized that it matters where you get your fat from. So an avocado is going to be a different fat than a semi-sweet chocolate chip. So they got rid of that. So they're focusing more on that. They included how much added sugar is actually in grams for whatever the food is. So that's going to be an addition. Your nutrient list is still there. It's permitted. It's been updated. Vitamin D and potassium are now actually required on there. And then just a footnote, it's changed to better explain how this is happening. Obviously, these nutrition labels go by a 2,000 calorie diet. Nobody actually goes by a 200 or 2,000 calorie diet unless like that's your meal plan. So it's going to range for whoever. So just make sure that you're paying attention to those things. But like I said, the ingredients and counting chemicals is so much more important than counting the calories and everything like that. All right. So side by side, this is what they look like. They may be the same, but they are different. Things are bolder. There are some things added, something taken out. If you guys have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. But it's kind of self-explanatory. Once you just start to look at it, it's going to become second nature to us, okay? So now I kind of want to dive into all the other labels that are on food. And so you see all these things that say organic or natural or farm raised, naturally grown, whatever. And some of those are actually good, some of those are actually regulated, and then some of those actually aren't. So I kind of want to break down some of the top ones that you should go for and that you should stay away from. So the certified labels by the USDA and the FDA are grass-fed, means that the only thing that animal is eating is grass. They are eating pure grass, whatever. Organic, GMO-free, non-GMO or non-GMO project certified. All of those should have a little green label circle thing, and it will say it on there, or naturally grown, all right? So you can trust those labels. Now, see my little happy face to my sad face? Like we said earlier, food has been deceptive to us for quite a long time. So to get the word natural in anything, it's practically a piece of cake, literally. And so natural is a bad word to not trust, but also words like free range or free roaming. The USDA only requires that those animals are allowed outside of a pen and outside roaming for 5 minutes. Like you only have to prove that they are outside 5 minutes a day, and you can have the label of free range or free roaming. Natural, like I said, farm raised. You'll see this a lot with fish. Just go ahead and please just stop eating tilapia now if that's what you eat for fish, because it's the worst made up fish ever. And they are mainly farm raised. So what that is it's a circle out in the middle of some kind of body of water, and they're literally farming the fish, pumping them full of steroids and antibiotics and things, and like just make them bigger, better, and just more fake as a food. And that's how tilapia actually came about. It's not a natural born fish. Like it wasn't here 100 years ago. So make sure the food that you're eating is wild caught, especially your salmon or anything that comes from Alaska. Make sure that that stuff's wild caught and not farm raised, all right? And then minimally processed is another one of those tricky words where minimally is one of those by discretion kind of things, okay? So just make sure that you're going for the grass-fed, organic, GMO-free, non-GMO, naturally grown food and not for the other labels. However, those labels are still going to have a little bit more care into them than your just average Joe Smo food from the grocery store. So if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But honestly, go for the certified labels, okay? With those certified labels and how we were looking through all those granola bars and we saw all the sugars, there are actually 57 or 58 current words that define sugar. Legit. High fructose corn syrup is nothing but sugar. Dextrose, sugar. Honey, sugar. It's a natural sugar, but it's still sugar. Fruit juice, sugar. Maltose, sugar. Lactose, sugar. Sucralose, sugar. Sorbitol, sugar. Molasses, you put that on pancakes sometimes, but still sugar. Caramel is a sugar. And there's some of these words in here that I can't even say, like ethanol, maltol. However, that was on that Fiber One bar. So don't think that it's not hiding in healthy foods. It's still sugar, okay? So words that you can't necessarily say or that get a little harder for you to say are mainly going to be a chemically made something. So maltodextrin, dextrose, lactose, all those things, the Xicodol, ethanol, whatever, those things are made sugars. Those are not naturally occurring sugars in the world, like a cane sugar or your honey or your caramel would be, okay? So just understand the differences in that. And if you see high fructose corn syrup anywhere, just try to run. Like Cheetos are not supposed to be that color, okay? They are not supposed to be like that. However, we all have Cheetos occasionally. It's not bad to 80-20 it up, but just try to stay away from these hidden sugars because they are hiding in food, and that's why there's so many names, is to where the FDA, USDA, all those people are easier for them to come through, okay? Another thing when you are grocery shopping that I want to bring to your attention when you're looking at food and you're trying to decide whether you want to do organic or non-organic is there's such thing as the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen are going to be foods that you should always choose organic. These are going to be things like your kale, collard greens, your celery, your spinach, those kind of leafy greens, strawberries, snap peas, grapes, bell peppers, peaches. And that's only because those dirty dozen are more likely to be infested with pesticides or be in an area in which pesticides are highly used. And that way they're going to end up on those foods. So especially if you get the dirty dozen, even if you choose organic or if you don't, make sure that you wash those foods, okay, before you eat them. With the Clean 15, they don't need to be organic. That's going to be your asparagus, avocados, kiwi, grapefruit, cauliflower, corn, sweet peas, sweet potato, pineapples. Most of these things are going to be things that have either a thicker skin, like a kiwi has a skin, a pineapple has a skin, an avocado has a skin, those kinds of things that are going to naturally detract pesticides from being around. And then these are also vegetables and fruits that aren't necessarily grown around pesticides or need pesticides around them for them to thrive. All right, so if you guys want to screenshot that real quick, go ahead. I'll give you guys a few minutes, but those things are very important because pesticides are also another chemical that you're not going to see, all right, but they will affect you. So just make sure whatever food you're getting, you pay attention to stuff like this, okay? And then some final tips that I have for you guys. I'm going to move my face over here. Some final tips that I have for you guys. Like I said earlier, if it doesn't have a label, it's most likely good for you. Those are going to be the foods that are going to be on the outside of your grocery store, to be honest. And we'll talk about that in a second. But if the ingredient names are too big or too complicated and you can't say them, they're most likely a chemical and you most likely should not be eating them, okay? It's probably not good for you. Maybe take a second to Google while you're in the grocery store, but just try to stay away from foods that you honestly can't say. And then if it doesn't have a label, it's most likely good for you. With the perimeter of the store, when you're grocery shopping, naturally when you walk into a store, you're going to have a grocery side. I suggest starting with that grocery side, walking around, because it's typically going to go to your meat, then your bread, and then your eggs, milk, cheese, all the way down there. It'll eventually lead into the pop and chips and stuff like that. But just try to stay on the perimeter, because if you're going into the aisles, you're eating food that has preservatives in it, okay? It has stuff that makes it stay on that shelf longer so they can make more money from it. And when I say they, I just mean like the food companies, okay? So it has more likely to have a preservative, artificial flavor, or sweetener, something to make it last longer that's not necessarily good for you. And when you're on the perimeter of the store, you're getting those natural fruits and veggies and those healthy fats and those foods that your body truly does need. The only thing that I really go into the aisles for is if I'm getting something like a spice or a household item. And you'll understand if you guys pay attention when you're grocery shopping, if you see, they now have the home section in aisles in the middle of the grocery store to encourage you to actually walk the aisles, because they're hoping that you'll walk through other aisles. When you walk in, they have that fruits and veggie section there for a reason, and you'll most likely smell cookies or something sweet, or those flowers. They'll typically have those at the front too, so it gets you in a good mood. It makes you want to spend more money. And then another tip, if you're in the aisles and when you're looking, is if you're on, if it's eye level, those people are paying big money for it to be eye level for you. If you have a child, the things that they're paying high money for is those lower shelves that they're seeing. So they pick it up and say, "Mommy, can I have this?" And so look around when you're actually shopping. So like my pasta sauce is typically on the second to bottom shelf or the second shelf. And it's just there, but it's a natural, more kind of not filled with preservatives, better kind of pasta sauce for you. And it's a little bit more hidden, all right? So just understand that the marketing people for the food that we have their own agenda. And it's just important to try to pick up on these little tips and tricks, all right? The only thing that I am just totally flabbergasted by is that frozen vegetables are just as good as raw. Frozen vegetables are just as good as raw vegetables. If you go pick it up and you see they're most likely 10 for 10, the little steamable packs, you'll see it's like green beans. It legitimately just says green beans frozen, and that's it. And those are good for you. If you have to pick vegetables from a can or frozen, pick the frozen one, all right? And it's better for portion control, especially for those of us who don't quite have families yet. It's great for 2 people. If you have a family, grab 2 bags. It's $2. You cannot tell me that eating healthy is expensive when you can get vegetables for an entire meal for $1. You can get apples for 3 for $1. Just don't get the stuff that's prepackaged. Get the stuff that's out on its own. Get the corn that's still in the ear. It's not hard to take 5 seconds to cut off the end, stick it in the microwave, or cut off or like shuck it and then boil it. It's not that hard. But people just wrap it in plastic, charge $3 more for it, and people buy that. So I'm trying to save you guys money, as well as make sure that you're making informed decisions. And when you're making these decisions, all you have to understand is that you're trying to get closer to Farmer Jane. You're trying to get away from the chemicals, you're trying to get away from the preservatives and all those things that fake food has been made for us, because technology is amazing, it's advanced greatly, but it's also made fake food like Cheetos and shit that is not necessarily good for you. So your goal is just to get closer to Farmer Jane, get closer to the fresh produce, get closer to the fresher meat that comes straight from the cow, get local grown food, support your local dairy farmer or your small businesses around you. If you're in Cincinnati, go to Findlay Market. If you're in Colorado, there are tons of places around to get fresh fruits and veggies, and there's no excuse, honestly, and it's not as expensive as you think it is. Your bag of Doritos costs more than some healthy snacks do, I promise you. And then over everything, just follow the 80-20 rule, all right? So for those of you who don't know, the 80-20 rule is if you take a piece of paper, you fold it in half, hot dog style, you list on the left side all the healthy food that you're willing to eat, and on the right side, all the not so good food for you that you're not willing to give up. Like for me, Reese cups are on that side. And 80% of the time, eat from the healthy, good side that you're willing to eat. 20% of the time, eat from the other side. And that way you're able to indulge, not have the guilt, not have the stress, and you're still well on your way to your journey. All right. So if you guys have any questions about what I shared with you today, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If there's any other topics that you guys have questions about and concerns in regards to healthy eating or food or anything like that, please don't hesitate to ask. And I would love to make more videos like this for you. I hope this was short, sweet, and to the point. But my message for you guys today is once you know better, you do better. So I hope you learned something to make a better choice the next time you go to the grocery store, and that you go out and be your best self today. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great day.